it's Alex. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry it's been a little while. Today's video is all about shirts. I have a new shirt sewing pattern to add to my collection, and I've made two versions of it. And I've also got another shirt to show you, which is an old favourite pattern. Yeah, one of those times where you finally use some fabric that you love and it was in danger of just sitting on a shelf. And I thought that while I was at it, I would just have a little run through of the shirts that I've got. And that's because when the weather changed, here in the UK it is now most definitely autumn. When the weather changed, I had a big old sort of switch from summer clothes to autumn and winter clothes. I do it every year. I put all the summer things away, and I don't know about you, but every time I do that, twice a year, there are always some things that I know for sure that I didn't wear the previous year. There's nothing wrong with them, they're in good condition. That's whether they're things I've made or things I've bought, but for some reason they come out every year, and at the end of the season they get put away again, and the chances are I've not worn them. So this year I decided to be ruthless, and anything like that I've left in a box that if they're still in that box next year, it will all go off to charity. So it's there if I suddenly realise that there's something I do want, but I've been ruthless. And in being ruthless, I realise, I'm laughing because I'm going to show you all the shirts that I decided to keep, and I'm also about to tell you that I felt that there was some shirt-sized holes in my wardrobe. And probably when you look at these little roundup of shirts at the end, you're going to think, what is she talking about? She's got loads of them. But I felt that I needed some new ones, or maybe it's just been a while since I've made one and I wanted an excuse. So yes, if you hold on to the end, I'm going to do a little quick roundup of all the shirts that I have. These are obviously ones that I have made. But yes, so my new shirt pattern is from the French pattern company that make the billy shorts that I made in the summer for the first time using them, and they are called Joli Lab, I don't know, I'll put a title. Sometimes I think I need to learn French just so I can deal with French pattern companies. But this company, their patterns are bilingual, so you get French instructions and English instructions. Hallelujah, so it's not too tricky. They also provide a YouTube tutorial which is in French. To be honest, I haven't needed the tutorial, but then also, to be honest, I've made quite a few shirts. But the reason I really was drawn to this is part of their new autumn collection. I've no affiliation to them or anything like that. The reason I was drawn to it is that I am having a little bit of a minor obsession with a French fashion brand called sewn. I absolutely love a lot of their recent collections. They're sort of fairly classic, but they feel quite French to me. Maybe if you're French you might disagree, but it has that feeling to me. And I love their blouses. So this pattern company, to me, seemed to have a similar kind of vibe in their patterns. So that's why I've kind of been attracted to them recently. So the appeal of this particular pattern is that there are two versions really. One is a simple version and one is a version with pleats. So it comes with either, this is my simple version that I made, and it comes either with the standard collar with a collar stand, or you can do it just with, a collarless version. Do we call that a mandarin collar? I'm not sure. But anyway, the collarless version, I'm not a fan of those, so it's always going to be collar and stand for me. They have, and you're not going to be able to see it too clearly on this one, but it has a yoke at the back with a pleat, but there is also a yoke that runs from, from here at the front over diagonally to the back yoke, which has almost like a raglan cut to it. And on this version, which is the plain one, that's just plain. On the pleated version, there are pleats that run at the centre front of the bodice diagonally across here, and then also on this sort of shoulder yoke. So I really, really love this shirt. There's two, there's a standard button and cuff on the sleeves, but there are two treatments for that. So there's either one where you just use a bias strip for that placket there, and one where is the standard tower placket. I always go for the bias strip because I don't feel I need anything quite as formal as a tower placket, and they're a lot more fiddly to do. So I'm just being lazy, really. But even these days, even when there are shirts that have that tower placket, I tend to just do a bias strip anyway. Yeah. So I showed you this fabric a little while ago that I bought from no, I didn't buy it from Fabric Godmother, I bought it from Simply Fabrics. Super, super busy print on it, so there was no point making the pleated version on it because you just wouldn't see all those lovely seam lines. But I was dying to make it into a shirt, and I thought it would go nicely with my new green Billy trousers that I've shown you recently that are something of an obsession at the moment. I'm wearing them all the time. So yes, I thought it would work quite nicely with the colours, and it also has some pink in there, which isn't a colour that always goes with my colouring, but because it's in there with greens and a sort of peachy apricot-y colour, which is a little bit better for me, I thought I would be able to incorporate a little bit of pink. I am on the hunt for, oh, is that a helicopter? Wasn't a helicopter, it was a train. Yeah, so what was I saying? I am on the hunt for some bright fuchsia fabric to make another shirt from. I just love making shirts. But yeah, I thought that real fuchsia pink with the green trousers might look really good, and I think I get away with that really fuchsia-y pink. So yeah, I'm on the hunt for some, either plain or with a very small print to it, so that I can make a pleated version. I made a size 42. The pattern only goes up to a size 48, which is a UK 18, so definitely not inclusive. I did find it to be quite roomy. I, as always, should have sized up at the waist. My waist would have taken me to a 44, and I didn't do that, and I think it's absolutely fine. And it's sort of quite a good one for me because it's not super fitted. I've got, well, I don't really wear super fitted shirts, but I've got a couple that are slightly more fitted that have got darts at the back, you know, princess darts. So partly because of the pleat and the way it's been cut, it's not super fitted, but at the same time it's not massively oversized. But yeah, for tucking in it's nice because I don't want something too form-fitting. I want something that I can kind of poof out a bit. And I kind of feel like with these high waists, tucking in seems to work better. And I just don't feel inclined to do the half tuck thing with them. I think because, yeah, I like the shape of the trousers and I don't want that disguised by lots of fabric. So I did then enjoy making it so much that I quickly ordered some fabric to make a pleated version. And my pleated version, put it on in a sec, is here, and I had made it using this. I am really hoping that the camera looks like it might be blowing that out a little bit. It's not, it may come across as white, it's a slightly off-white, more like an ivory coloured. It's a cotton Jacquard fabric from, this one was from Fabric Godmother, and I'm really pleased with it because it's got this texture to it, which gives it a bit of weight, and it does feel more like a winter, well, no, I could wear it in the summer, but it doesn't feel as light and as flimsy as a summery kind of fabric, so that's really good. but at the same time being relatively plain, I feel that you can see the pleats on it. So let me quickly put that on. Okay, so here is my, put that down. Here is my pleated front version. So yeah, I really hope that you can see these pleats that run here and then across this shoulder section here, and then over to the back. The back yoke isn't pleated, so that's plain, and again the pleat at the back. So yeah, I really like it, and I think I like having that little bit of extra detail to it. I was really pleased with how they both turned out. The instructions are, you've got both the French and the English instructions on one sheet, so paragraph by paragraph it gives it to you in both, but you've got all the diagrams, and as I said, there is a YouTube tutorial, albeit in French, but where you can see all the steps along the way. So I think you've pretty much got everything there that you need in order to sew a shirt. It's not one of those shirts where the seams are done either with a flat felled seam or with a French seam. It is just sewn together and overlocked, and it is just a single yoke rather than a double yoke at the back using a burrito method, which you probably know I'm a big fan of. I've got my little burrito tutorial, which I will link. And I think possibly next time I would do a double yoke, but I thought I'd stick with the instructions and do it the right way. And I'm pleased with how it came out. It certainly means that it's a fairly quick, fuss-free way of making a shirt rather than doing a different seam treatment. You know, flat felled seams, they do take longer, and so do French seams. And I feel that sometimes French seams have their limits on shirts, and I'm about to show you why in a minute. There was one change I made between the two, and that is that I did find that, I probably should have said this while I was wearing it, I did feel that the sleeves were a tiny bit on the short side for me. I just wanted a little bit more length, and stupidly I only remembered that once I'd actually cut the sleeves out for this one. So what I did was I just extended the cuffs. So I added about 2 centimetres onto the cuff, and I think that's working a little bit better for me. It's an open placket, not a concealed placket. I'm a big fan of a concealed placket because you can hide any potential buttonhole mistakes. So you do have your buttons out on display. I've got some nice buttons from Textile Express. You won't be able to see them. Nice buttons from Textile Express for this one, and these pearly type ones you can buy in pretty much anywhere. Kind of DIY, not DIY stores, you know what I mean, crafty type shops. Yeah, but it's definitely one, you've got lots of buttons and they are out on display, so you want to get nice buttons. So, big thumbs up from me. It would have been nice, of course, if it was a bit more inclusive in the size range. Great instructions. I did put the placket on a little bit differently to their instruction. They had you hem the shirt and you then put your placket on. So you hem it at the bottom and then attach it on, and I felt that was a bit of a crazy way round of doing it. So I hemmed my shirt, put the placket on, and then hemmed it while it was attached. Don't know if that makes any sense. But it was just a personal preference thing. So big thumbs up from me. Then the other shirt that I've got to show you, I've sort of been making on and off over the last few weeks because it's made from silk, and it is a total pain to make shirts out of silk. So I did it in stages because there were times when we fell out with each other and I didn't want to look at it ever again. So this fabric I showed you a little while ago. It's a silk viscose twill, And I suspect, again from Simply Fabrics, they get a lot of designer date stock. I suspect it was designed to be a lining. So it came with these sort of, it's almost like in panels. So this is all one piece. Yeah, I really like this print. I've had it for at least a year, possibly longer, didn't know what to make from it. Somebody came up with a brilliant suggestion of making some like elasticated or loose fitting trousers for the summer, and I think they would have looked brilliant, but I was almost too scared to cut into them to make something I wasn't 100% sure I was going to wear. When we went on holiday in the summer, I had 2 meters of this fabric and I hemmed it all the way around and thought that perhaps I might use it as a sarong, but I didn't. It just came back. So in the end I went, do you know what, I think that would make a great shirt, and I'll put it on, I'll show you. It's not great, it isn't great, there are not brilliant things about it, but I'm glad to have done it. Okay, so I really like how it looks overall. I think it's, yeah, I really like the print more than anything, and I have to be honest, I did think it would go with these trousers. The sleeves again are a bit short on this one. This is, by the way, the Melio shirt from Deer and Doe, and I've just remembered I didn't tell you the name of this pattern for this other one, and it's the Maya shirt. Yeah. So yeah, this is, I don't know, I've made quite a few of these, you're going to see them in a minute. And it was only once I got sewing it that I remembered why I told myself I wouldn't make any more of these Melio shirts. So there's a couple of things that are not great. It is, yeah, I mean, if I was doing those sleeves up, you'd see it's quite short. So if you're my kind of height, you probably do need to add a little bit of length onto it. But the thing with the Melio is that it doesn't have a set-in sleeve, it has a dropped sleeve, and this doesn't look great. It has French seams, and it's certainly struggling a little bit at this seam line. I think the pattern is busy enough, and more importantly, to be honest, was very glad to have finished this. I didn't enjoy making it, and I could unpick it and redo those seams. I might at some point in the future, but it's not happening anytime soon. Yeah, I don't really want to be dealing with this fabric any longer. But yeah, I find that these drop sleeves they're okay, but I think I actually prefer a set-in sleeve. And because you're sewing it with a French seam, you've actually got to make that French seam as narrow as you possibly can, because you also have this curve here, this underarm curve, which is part of the, which is all sewn in one, and you've got a French seam there. And I did have to unpick that because it looked a bit bulky, so you really do need to get it as narrow as possible. Had I bought the Maya shirt pattern a few weeks ago, I don't think it was out then, but if I had, I probably would have just used that instead. But yeah, I am still really pleased with it, and I think I'm definitely going to wear it. There's no shadow of doubt, I'm definitely wearing it. I didn't go to all that trouble to not wear it. The other advantage that this Melio shirt has is that it does have the concealed placket. Having said that, the instructions for that concealed placket from Deer and Doe are not great. I know lots of people find it quite confusing, but I do think that there is probably a tutorial here on YouTube. Somebody's probably done one on how to do it. I do end up scratching my head a little bit and going, how do I do that again? The instructions are okay, but not amazing. Anyway, as promised, I'll do a little run through of the shirts that I decided to keep in my wardrobe for this year, and you're definitely going to think I'm nuts when I told you at the beginning that I felt I needed some more. But I love wearing them, and I just do find that they are one of the most versatile garments. I like making something that I know I'm going to wear pretty much all year round, and I love jumpers in winter, but I do feel that if you wear a shirt under your jumper with the collars poking out, you can kind of, I don't know, make your outfit a little bit more interesting, and you don't get that itchy thing so much because you've got a barrier between you and the jumper. Okay, variation on a theme, another Deer and Doe Melio, straightforward collar and collar stand, hidden button placket again. The other thing to bear in mind with the Melio is it does have a little bit of shaping in it, and it does have darts. The Maya shirt that I just made don't have darts, and they're more boxy. I did cheat with this one. I didn't put a cuff on it. I just turned up the hem and put some elastic in. I think maybe I may have drafted it a little bit wider and added some. Can't remember. It will be on an old video. So yeah, just did an elasticated gathered waist on this one. It's still struggling a little bit on that seam line with that French seam. The other thing to bear in mind with the Melio is it's quite long and it has a very deeply curved hem. So that is a bit of a pain to do when you're hemming it, because those curves involve a fair bit of manipulation. But yes, this one is staying. So I think that this might be the first Melio shirt that I made. This is viscose fabric again with these palm trees on. It's a few years old now. But I did something a little bit different with the cuffs on this one. So what I did was, and I can't remember if this is on the pattern or whether I've hacked it. So I've got an extra long cuff there, but still just the one button and buttonhole. And the idea is that I can fold it over, and then if I wear the shirt under a jumper, I can fold back the cuff, and then you can see the cuffs over the top of the jumper. So yeah. Right, up next is something that's not a Melio shirt. I can't remember which one it will be though. Hold on. So this one is quite different really. It's the Liberty, it's one of the Liberty patterns. It's called the something boho shirt. Thea, maybe Thea? Something like that. There'll be a title. And it has this puff sleeve. So there's lots of, you probably can't see with this print, lots of gathers around this seam line here, and a big puffy sleeve with gathers again going into a cuff. It's a little bit big on me now, or maybe I made a size too big. I made it out of this viscose fabric. I think the viscose fabric is great because it's nice and drapey, and don't get me wrong, I really, really love wearing this blouse, and I don't really care that it's a little bit oversized. I think that's fine. But I think to get a more accentuated sleeve, if I'd made it out of something a bit stiffer, like a cotton or cotton poplin or something like that, you'd have had a more sort of architectural puff sleeve there. But nonetheless, I really like this shirt, and I am still kicking myself that I didn't get more of this fabric, because I bought it from Paul in Longsite Market, £2.50 a metre, and these colours are so, it's so me, you know, autumnal colours on a black background. I love it, and I am still annoyed that I didn't buy more. Okay, so this is a stylark Roxy shirt. So it has the standard collar stand, placket. It's not a, no, you're right, it's not a concealed placket, and it does have darts. It's possibly a little bit big on me at the moment, but that's me, not the pattern. But the thing that's good or different about this is the back. It has this split at the back, so you've got a seam line here, which is, yeah, that's about where my waist is, and then you've got a split at the back. So if you are wearing this untucked, possibly with a slimmer, you know, a straight leg or a slimmer leg, trousers or jeans, then that kind of gives it a nice feature, but you're not actually flashing anything because that's still sort of safety limits. And then if you do want to tuck it in, which I do, even though it's fairly longish, because that's, yeah, definitely a bit on the longer side, because of the split at the back, it's not uncomfortable trying to get all that bulk into your trousers. Do you know what I mean? You've got the split there, it just gives the fabric more room to manoeuvre. And I really like this leopard, no it's not leopard, it's zebra. I like this zebra print, and I think it's a Mind the Maker fabric that I got from Lulou Designs. But for me what's really nice is that it's not against a stark white background. It's this sort of, I don't know, what is it, camely colour, the background. But I really like this one. It has a slightly longer placket on it. This is a tower placket. This is one where I obviously decided to do the right thing and not cheat. But it also is one of those where you've actually got a button on the placket itself. We'll just ignore that bit of fraying. So there's a button on the placket itself as well as on the cuff. But this is a really nice shirt pattern to make. It's a good versatile one. Okay, this is a different pattern now. This is a Burda pattern. It's the one that comes with like a bib front variation that I made a really pretty sort of lacy version, but I never wear that in winter, so this one has stayed for the autumn winter, but it's cotton fabric this time, so a lot easier to make shirts from cotton fabric. If you're somebody who fancies doing shirts and you haven't done it before, don't do one out of viscose, and definitely don't attempt one out of silk. Cotton just makes the whole process really nice and easy to sew, and of course it's always nice to wear as well, isn't it? This one is a little bit more fitted. I mean, obviously it's not super fitted, but it is the one that has the darts or princess seam type darts at the back, and I'm fairly sure that I tend to go up a size or sort of up, and maybe I'm in between sizes and I go higher rather than lower, just to give me a little bit of room, because I don't want it to be, you know, super skimming. But yeah, standard cuff and placket. What did I do there? Yeah, cheated and did the bias strip. I have to admit, with this pattern, I don't tend to even bother even looking at the instructions. I'm sure they're fine, but you know, I kind of don't really need them. I've made enough of them. I've said this a million times before, but I would highly recommend Pam Howard's class on Craftsy if you fancy getting into making shirts. It's brilliant and she's fabulous. Okay, so yeah, it's the same Burda pattern. It's cotton again. This is cotton poplin, obviously in this William Morris print. And come on, look at this green William Morris print with these trousers. So yeah, this was definitely staying for this year. And yeah, this is the one that it's exactly the same as the previous one, except that I took the back darts out, and I don't know, did I do something else maybe to give it a little bit more room, not be so fitted? Same standard cuff. Oh, I did a tower placket that time. You see, it's cotton, so much easier to sew with. And those are, you see, not many. Those are the shirts that I'm going to be wearing with, yeah, tucked into trousers. I'm definitely going to be wearing them a lot over the autumn and winter. And then the only other two that I've got are these two, which are both variations of the assembly line oversized shirt. And I mean, I can put one on, but I can't see me wearing them with these trousers because it is that oversized, and I just feel that it would just look too baggy on baggy, and because they're quite long, trying to tuck all of that in would just be, you know, really uncomfortable. But I will wear them with other things. Yeah, with straight legs and all sorts of other things. And I suppose I could wear it if I had something like a polo neck top what do you call that if you're not British? A roll neck, I think. Yeah, or something else underneath it and have the shirt open. But you see what I mean? If I button that up, I don't think that's just a bit of sort of blob of fabric. But I love this shirt with tighter, you know, trousers or even leggings. One of the things that's great about it is it has pockets inside, which is great on a shirt. And I have been thinking about making another one, but dress length, you know, just really long, almost maxi length. Yeah, I think that would be great. This one here is not quite as long and doesn't have the pockets because I didn't have too much of this Nanny Iro fabric, so I was having to squeeze it. So it's a little bit shorter, but nonetheless the whole point of them is that they're loose and baggy, and I just not convinced it's working with these wide leg trousers, which I will confess I have made another pair of, which I will show you very soon, and I also recently bought, yeah, don't shoot me, I bought a pair of jeans, I didn't make them, and they are also wide legs. So that's partly why I've been thinking about what I'm going to be wearing with these kind of wider shapes. So, yes, that's it. Do you think I've got a shirt problem? I don't know. But really loved that new pattern. And as I said, I am also looking for some fuchsia fabric to make another one. Maybe I'll stop there. Maybe I won't. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for all your support as always. Sorry I went absent for a while. To be honest, you know, I just enjoy sewing so much that sometimes I just don't want to stop to make a video. But then I get to a point where I've got too much stuff and to show you, and it all starts backing up. Anyway, I will be back really soon. Thank you very much, everyone. Obviously, there will be links in the description box below with all these shirts and fabric, I guess, that I've used. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.